In this video, I'm gonna make Palworld realistic. At this point, everybody is playing Palworld, and I understand why. It's an amazing open world game where you can collect and fight pals, aka Pokemons. People are even calling the game Pokemons with guns, and it is kinda true. For this video, I thought it would be interesting to see what would pals look like if they were real. The game itself is not very realistic, I would say. It's more cartoonish, so it would be interesting to see the pals come to life. I've chosen two pals, which is Lamball and Grizzbolt, so without further ado, let's dive into the video. First, I started by making background. I dropped this field picture and I kinda fixed the perspective with the perspective tool, and I removed the mountain behind. I wanted the background to be this sunny green background with a lot of trees. Then I added the grass on the edges with just a grass brush tool. And I dropped these trees in the background. I removed the sky and I fixed the trees. Then I dropped this new sky, I made it a tad bigger, I added this blur, and the background was looking pretty nice. Then I dropped the Lamball in the middle. I also found this pillow. After that I dropped the picture of this sheep. I only needed the face, so I removed the other parts. There we go. I adjusted the levels and I dropped another sheep for the ears. I worked the ears to match the lamb ball. And I fixed the edges to match this ball. I think the edges were a bit too clean, so I found this picture and put it in the background. Then I started to make the feet with the same sheep picture. I duplicated the same thing on the hands. And started to make the horns. I'm just gonna make the simple shapes for now. Then I made these things on his chest. There we go. I dropped it on the lamb ball. After that I added some highlights and some shadows on the lamb ball. Now let's merge this guy in the ground. I also added the shadow on the ground. I made the Lamball a tad bigger. I added this sun rays, there we go. And some particles. I colored this thing with the same colors. I added some shadows on it. Then I added these butterflies, I thought it would look cool. I added the simple highlights. I fixed some things on his face because it needed some work. I added some shadows and started working on the ears. I dropped this ear. I used this hairbrush to merge it in the ears. After that I dropped this bone texture in the horns. It needs some warping. I put some light on these things, there we go, and started to add the camera raw filters. This is the cutest thing I've ever made, probably. I love the Lamball itself, butterflies, the background. I think everything works pretty good together. I'll call this a win. Now let's make the Grizzbolt. I think it's gonna be a bit harder, but we'll see. First I started by tracing the shape of the body. I added some tiny shadows to see the curves of the body. There we go. I traced the shapes for the eyes and mouth. Then I found this 3D render of this guy, which is perfect fit for this body. I think this kind of fur would look pretty good on Grizzbolt. I made everything the same yellow. Then I started to make these black parts with just hue and saturation. Now let's make the middle part. There we go. Let's fill this up. Same thing on the left hand. Then I started to make this belly just white on the hue and saturation. I traced the shapes for the claws. I'm gonna add the textures later. Same thing on the other hand. I added some more shadows for the wrinkles and I added the inner shadow for the middle part. I traced the claws on his feet too. I just duplicated it on the right side because it's the same. Then I used the same hairbrush for the outside so it doesn't look so smooth. It is really time consuming, but the result is definitely worth it. I'm gonna do the same thing on the entire body. Same thing on his hands. There we go. I'm gonna do the same thing on the black colors because it shouldn't be so smooth. There, it looks a lot better. Then I added the textures in the claws. I actually found the perfect claw for this one. I duplicated the texture. I added the shadows. There shouldn't be any highlights on the left foot. I also added the shadows on the right foot and I also added the highlights. I forgot this black part on his neck. There we go. Same thing with the brush. Then I dropped this bunny for the ears. I'm just gonna remove the bottom part. There we go. I dropped the ears, I matched the size and I started warping. We need to match it to the Grizzbolt's ears. There we go. Then I found this picture of a cat eye. I made it white just like Grizzbolt has. I matched the shape again with the warp. And I started to add the shadows. First I added the shadows inside the bowl. Same thing with the hair. It should be merged in the body. I added texture on the left claws. Let's add this dog nose. I also added the normal human teeth, I just stretched it. Now let's add some more shadows. Some shadows here. I'm gonna make the back claws a little darker. Same thing with the grass, I'm just gonna merge it with this grass brush tool. This single thing makes it so much better. I added the shadows on the ears. Same thing on the other one. I added the highlights on his body. Same thing on the ears. And then I dropped the shadow on the ground. I added the same particles and the same light beam from the Lamball picture. After that I changed some more stuff and I thought that the background wasn't looking too good because the Grizzbolt himself is very yellow and the background is also yellow. I needed to change the background, so I went back to the Lamball's file where I had the working file for the background. I wanted to have more sky, so I pulled these trees down. I matched the colors and add the same blur effect. I dropped the background and instantly it looks better. After that I started to add the camera raw filters. I changed tons of stuff and this is the result. I think both of them turned out to be very good. If you ask me to choose between them, I would probably go with Grizzbolt because it is more detailed and looks more awesome, I think. I actually really want to know which one did you like more, so definitely tell me in the comments. Some of you were really waiting for my Discord server, so if you want to join, link is in the description. In the end, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. I love making this stuff, and if you want me to continue making videos like this, definitely like and subscribe. It just gives me so much motivation, and I really hope I'll see you in the next video.